the Married and Connected podcast. This is the podcast to hear authentic stories of marriages that have gone from ashes to excellence, a mixture of science and biblically based tips to improve your own marriage, and experts in fields that will help you navigate the good, the bad, and the in-between of marriage. I am your host for the show, Kameran and I'm an Enneagram 2 with a 1 wing, a former public school teacher turned Gottman certified marriage coach, intentional about practicing in my own relationship what I'm preaching to you. I'm an avid self-improvement reader, passionate about homeschooling our 2 boys, a firm believer in Jesus, and that nothing will change you for the better more than traveling. That being said, this podcast is set up as if you and I were old friends, sitting together, drinking coffee, sharing all of our deepest secrets of marriage, life, kids, and the things that set our souls on fire. If improving your marriage, authenticity, and growth are your jam as much as they are mine, you're in the right place, and I couldn't be more excited to have you here. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the show so you never miss an episode. Leave a review, and don't forget to share to your socials so that more people can better their marriage along with you. Thanks for listening, and let's jump into this week's episode. Do you want a stronger, more connected marriage without having to schedule appointments, pay a hefty fee, or find a babysitter? Connected and Committed is a 6-week self-study course designed to help you break unhealthy cycles, communicate with clarity, rebuild trust, and reignite intimacy on your own. Each week, you will dive into 3 powerful recorded coaching sessions, practical exercises, and expert-backed strategies that create lasting change. Whether you're feeling disconnected or just want to deepen your bond, this course is going to guide you every single step of the way. Purchase grants you lifetime access and can be done with your spouse or on your own. Invest in your marriage today. Visit the link in the show notes to learn more. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Married and Connected podcast. Today's guest is no stranger to the Married and Connected podcast. She is an emotional sobriety expert, keynote speaker, best-selling author with not 1, but 2 books being released this year, host of the daily podcast Level-Headed Talk, TEDx speaker, and doctor of chiropractic. Her acclaimed book, The You You've Never Met, has guided numerous individuals, including myself and several of my family members, to heal their emotional and behavioral patterns, as well as transform painful relationships, no matter where they are or who they're with, through the development of emotional sobriety training. Now, if you are new here, we have talked frequently over a year now about emotional sobriety training. And Dr. Vitz is the one who developed that groundbreaking rep-based approach that has brought relief and healing to thousands of individuals in their marriages, companies, and personal lives. And this has forged a global movement for emotional sobriety, providing people with the tools they need to master their biochemistry and to release their habituation towards shame, anger, and all forms of destructive emotional pain. She coaches all types of people and is often sought after by high-level execs and teams to lead executive retreats. She's doing a marriage retreat in October, which we are going to talk about a little bit as well. One-on-one trainings, corporate restructuring. She runs leadership trainings, both in person and virtually. And she is also the wife of the guest coach, Ted O'Neill, that you all loved and adored in the special coaching episode from a few weeks ago. So without further ado, welcome, Dr. Andrea Vitz. Thanks for being here.
Kameran.
Yeah, I'm so
How are
excited
you?
to have you again. Fantastic. I'm so wonderful. How
You
are you?
look wonderful. I am wonderful as well, my dear.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. I'm so glad you're doing great. I'm so glad. Today, I want to jump in. There is this special topic that we are going to talk about today. I feel like so many marriages are struggling with. And I know in my first marriage, we were 21 and 23 when we got married. I don't know that the mission of the marriage or like the purpose of the marriage was ever even discussed. I think that it was just one of those things that we were like, well, we've been together 6 years. So like, are we getting married like all the rest of our friends, or are we breaking up? Like what's happening here? So we got married. And I feel like a lot of people are like that too. Like the mission is never discussed. The purpose of the marriage. Like, why did I choose this person out of the 9 billion people in this world? Why this person? And so you and Ted have created this mission-based marriage, and that is what I really want to get into. What is the reason that people should have a mission-based marriage? And if they don't have a mission-based marriage already, how do we implement that if we've been married 5, 10, 25 years?
That's such a great question. And by the way, I'm honored to be back for, what is this, my third time?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Well, I'm looking forward to 10 more. So,
of
okay,
course.
mission-based marriage. I think a lot of us get into relationship not only as individuals, but as dependent individuals, right? I'm sure you talked about that with Coach Ted a lot. You're going to have a lot of layering with our conversations on top of each other, but that's because we're on the same mission, right? So I want to talk a little bit about that. When people get married, think of it the word marriage. Marriage means union. That's all it means. It doesn't, you can be not legally married and still be married. You're in a union. You are either together or you're not together. And so if you don't have a mission together, and it doesn't have to be like a project or children, but if you don't have a common principally based union, which would become your marriage, then you have no reason to be in a union. Literally, by definition, there's no reason to be together in union other than like you make me feel like I'm not alone in the world. Okay, that's coming from a dependent place. Or you make me feel like I'm worth something. It comes from a dependent place. Or I believe now that I'm being chosen by somebody. It comes from a dependent place. So we will really teach people not only how to create the why behind why they're together, but give them direct tools and really repetition-based training together and individually to make two uniquely qualified individuals to join into this mission. So it's really fun because people that have been married for 5, 15, 30 years, doesn't matter. They can actually train themselves, become new people, and really authentically choose each other.
Yeah.
Again, it's so fun. Like Ted and I remember we were like maybe a year or two into our relationship and him saying, at some point, we have to really decide what we're going to be about. And I'm like, wow, that's a great idea. He's like, yeah, I remember saying that when we first got together. And I'm like, oh, I wasn't on that planet yet.
Yes.
So, but it was so great because it really doesn't, it's like the mission can change in terms of where your focus goes to as individuals and as a couple. But the principles of the mission don't really change. You might add to them, but you would never remove the ones that have been working. Okay. So we teach people how to get individually independent so that they know their own value, they contribute, they're useful in the world in a totally different way. They're out of self-centeredness, they're into service, and they have more self-worth and real self-esteem than they ever have before. And then they turn to their partner who's doing the same thing. Yeah. Because here's the secret, kids. I figured it out. I cracked the code on how to have a happy marriage. Okay. Lean in.
Write it down.
It's all about the individual. That's it. It's all about the individual. Here's why. Because if you do everything in your power to completely increase your emotional sobriety, your purpose alignment, your biointegration, or your bodily systems integration. That's another concept that we teach. You're going to be so fundamentally different. And at that point, you have become a master at being human. That's why we call what we do is integrated human mastery. Because there's a special thing that happens is when you achieve that state, you're either going to have the best marriage you've ever had, or you're going to be totally comfortable not having the marriage.
Yeah. Completely. I'm living proof of that. Living proof of it.
Those are the only two things. The individual is everything. And so when people come and they're complaining about the person that they're fighting against, it's wasted breath. Because unless you're asking for how do I navigate this behavior? How do I take responsibility and navigate this behavior as opposed to how do I change this person? Right? Because if you're asking me for help to change someone else, that would take more than magic. It's not possible. I can't change another person's behavior as much as you can. Right? I can talk to an individual and help them if they want actual change, but I cannot reach into someone else's spouse and remove the behavior that is creating some kind of conflict in the marriage. So it's always about you. It's always about the individual. And what I love about that is it takes away all the chaos. It takes away all the pain. It takes away all the struggle, because everything now is in your court. Everything's under your control. Everything is in your power. And you're like, wow, I get to do whatever I want in terms of my betterment, my decisions, my discernment, my self-esteem. If I currently suck at my self-esteem, that's all I need to work on.
Mm-hmm.
If I currently suck at being a liar, that's all I need to work on. And you find your biggest gap and you fill it. It's not hard. We make it so much harder because we're too trapped in the addiction of blame and emotional upheaval and the circumstance. But when you really put the responsibility back on yourself, you get all of this incredible insight and wisdom and God talking to you. You know, it's like, oh, I have all these answers, where before I was just totally blocked. So that's what it's important, is having a mission together. And usually that mission just involves two individuals being called out and being called up to a totally different place. And then what happens, it's like you look at each other from across the room, maybe on the end of day one or the middle of day three, and you're like, oh my gosh, I love you. You are working so hard over this 3-day retreat that we're having. And it's not really a retreat. We just call it that so people feel like it's going to be fun. But it's really just really hard work. It forces you to change.
Because the title, "Come Get Your Ass Kicked by Us," doesn't work that way in marketing. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a 3-day retreat where it's kind of like, SEAL training for your marriage. If you want to look at it like that, it's like, what's the fastest way possible that we can resuscitate and put some diamonds in your marriage? Because we've got a combined 40 years, 50 years experience. And as a couple, we've got almost 15 years experience, and we've been through it all. So, don't come to us thinking, oh, this couple that they've just always gotten along so well, and it's always been fairy tale. It's like, no, man, we've been through hell together, and we've gotten out. We feel like we're on cloud 9 all the time, and it's by choice. And it's by virtue of all the work that we did, that we teach in this 3-day event. And we do offer ongoing support. It's not like we're going to fire hose you with information and then just leave you hanging. It's like, we're going to give you months and months of support afterward to integrate everything that you learned. But the breakthrough that happens comes from the breakdown.
Yeah.
If I don't get you to a place where you are fully humbled, you can never have a breakthrough.
That's true.
You're too big.
Yeah.
You're too arrogant to fit through that eye of the needle.
Well, and that was actually going to be my next question, because you talked about how, I think it's really easy for couples to sit across the room from each other and be like, you're a liar and you suck and this is the problem and you. But then we look at each other and we just get defensive and we're like, no, I'm not that person. I'm not that person. So how do we actually come to the place where we say, okay, my biggest gap is I'm a liar. My biggest gap is I need more empathy in my life, or I need to stop drinking, or whatever the case may be, right? So how do we actually get real with ourselves and say, okay, yep, this actually is my biggest gap, and this is what I need to do to fix that?
Oh, such a good question. You're such a pro. Just like lobbing them down the center.
I lived it.
She's like, so what do we do? Okay, great question. The answer is pretty simple. If you don't think you're any of the things that you're being accused of, it just means that you aren't in a position to see it yet. And you're probably not in a position to see it, one, because you're too scared to even consider it, because then it would mean you're not lovable.
Yeah.
Which is just not true, kids. The second is you've not been hit in the ass yet by the theory or the real evidence that we're really all the same. So here's the thing. If I've been defensive, if I've been a liar, if I've been childish, if I've been judgmental, if I've been self-centered, if I've been, name it, so have you.
Me too.
There's almost no way around it. It doesn't matter who you are, where you live, what culture you're from. Most of the time, we are exactly the same in our flaws, even if the flavor of how we do it is different.
Yep.
So you might be an omitter. I might be really have like really big lies, right? It's a totally different type of lie, but it's still dishonesty. So we have to get over ourselves enough and stop making ourselves seem like we're the most special, the most important, the most perfect, flawless person.
Yep.
Even if inside you're not, you're still putting it out there that you want to be that. Right. And so you're holding that ground. You're just digging your heels into the mud. Like, nope, not me. I'm perfect. Nope, I'm not going to look at that. So you're ignoring that fact that we're all the same. And if that's true, then give yourself that grace of like, okay, well, what if I just looked? Like, what if I just gave it a little bit of a look? Because most of the time when we do those things, we don't even notice because they're such a part of our makeup. They're part of our, not our design, but our trauma-based or condition-based blueprint that came from our past. And so if I'm behaving like, let's say my father, I'm not saying my father does any of these things. I'm just using it as an example. If I'm behaving like my father, let's say my father drank a lot and to him, it wasn't a big deal, but to us, it was a big deal. Okay. If I start drinking a lot, I'm also going to think it's not a big deal. Yep. And I'm going to say, well, it's different because my dad did it this way. I do it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Not different, baby. Okay. Not different.
It's just
same. Because it looks a little different. Maybe your dad drank at the bar and you drink at home and you drink wine. You don't drink hard alcohol. It's all the same. And so if we could do that with every single thing we're accused of by our partner, especially by our partner, because they have a very close view, close view of you. And so if you could start trusting that and leaning in and trying your best to hear, it's like, what is it? You're saying I'm defensive. Okay. That makes me feel enraged, which means I'm defensive.
Right.
Right. It's like, oh, when you can feel that, you're like, okay, all right, I'm defensive. Oh, wow. And there's this energetic release that's going to happen when you break through that because you've been willing to get smaller, humbled, not less valuable, not less important, not less amazing, actually more amazing when you get humbled. And that ego shrinks down so you can fit through to the breakthrough of your next life. So that's really what it is. It's being willing and excited and enthusiastic. Yeah. When I have people come to my place, like I do some pre-coaching with them, especially before the retreat. It's like you have to have like a call with me before you come and with Coach Ted, because we want to make sure that you're in a place that you're excited about finding the things. Yeah. You're like, it's not about like, I don't even want to know what's going on with my husband or my wife. I want to know how I can change it because the individual is the one who fixes the marriage.
Yes. Better me, better us.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the secret.
I think it comes down to what you were talking about is understanding what the true definition of things are as well. Like we have an idea of what defensive is or might look like, but we don't consider other aspects of it. So like defensiveness, for example, or even like secondary addictions, we think of addictions as like drugs and alcohol and hard things, but we don't ever consider that like, oh, my partner is an alcoholic, but I'm addicted to food and I'm eating an entire sleeve of Oreos and hiding the trash underneath other trash. Like that's not the same. It is the same. It is the same. And I even remember talking to you. I think so many of my breakthroughs came from, so if you're listening to this and you're like, "Ooh, I'm so scared." Don't be, because again, we're all the same. This is my biggest breakthroughs came from you saying, yes, but if you are doing this, but complaining about this person doing this, you're doing the same thing. And it's like, crap. Okay. And like, now you have to really take a deep dive into yourself and actually look at yourself and see what you're doing. Otherwise, you're just going to continue to do it. So yeah, that's where a lot of my breakthroughs came from too. And I'm so much better of a person for it. I can honestly look back at where I was even a year and a half ago and 6 months ago even, and be like, wow, I'm so glad that I'm not that same person anymore. I'm so glad that I have changed these behaviors or done these things differently, because I am a better person for it. I'm a better mom, a better, a better coach, just a better person in general. So, and I think that's what everybody needs. Everybody needs that, to be a better person in general, just for the purpose of having better relationships at work, at home, with your family, all the things. So,
Yeah. What you're talking about too is familiarity bias. Like
mhm.
when someone says like you're a liar or you're defensive or you're acting like a child right now, it's familiar. My mom did this, so I don't see myself doing it.
Mhm.
It's like,
It's
or my
normal.
sister does. Yeah. There's no way for you to see it because there's no contrast.
Yeah.
It's not like you're coming from a really stable, emotionally sober background and all of a sudden you are out of your mind. Your out of your mind is normal.
Hmm.
Is just your personality. Is just you
Yep.
standing up for yourself. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
No, it's not. Standing up for yourself never looks like violence. It never looks like yelling. It never looks like shaming. There's a difference. My daughter and I have talked about this before. She had someone she was struggling with, and she said, I just really need to stand up to them. And I said, no, you need to stand up next to them. There's a difference.
Dig into that.
Standing up to somebody indicates they're below you and that you need to punish them or teach them something, that you need to have some kind of a impact on changing that, what they've done, and getting some kind of justice for it. Standing up to them is just being the demonstration of what you wish they had been. So if you got lied to, you better become the most authentic, trustworthy, high integrity person that you've ever met. Otherwise, you've got no right talking to that person about what they've done. If you
Be the standard.
be the standard and then some, because there's going to be weak moments and there's going to be times that you're tired or times that you're fried. So you better be the standard times 100 so that if you fall back, you're still at 100. You know what I
Makes
mean?
sense. Yeah, no, it totally makes sense.
Make it
And
your
I think that
default.
this is what marriages need, because a lot of times we're just pointing the finger and we're not realizing that we've got three pointing back at us. So we're pointing the finger at our partner saying, you need to change. This is your problem. It's not me that needs help. And you're ridiculing them, but you're not the standard either. You're not living into the, like, it's not like you're the perfect partner or you would have a great marriage, because no relationship can be horrible if one person radically changes. So this makes complete sense. One thing I like about mission-based marriage too is that it directs your decisions. When choices arise, a lot of, like, money is a really big issue in marriages. Parenting, a lot of couples that come to me, they have completely different parenting styles. Your careers, one of you wants to shift a career or one of you wants to quit your job and be a stay-at-home parent, something like that. You filter these through your shared mission. Is this decision going to actually lead us on the mission? Otherwise, you're just stuck in conflict.
Yes, this is very good because, everyone's heard of a divorce decree.
Yeah.
I've never heard of a marriage decree.
No.
We follow a divorce decree because it provides structure when there might be chaos. Wouldn't we want the same thing for our marriage?
Yep.
Because in the moment of emotion, you should not be making any decision.
And
just
that's
know that
when
emotion
people make decisions to get a divorce, is in high emotion.
Yes. And the decisions they make while married, if they're making them while emotional, are not going to work. So if you are going to go through a streamlined process, a proven system to get you individually independent and get your union to be marriage based, where you set up a marriage decree, which is a lot less expensive than a divorce decree, by the way. But if you,
sure, yes.
so if you
much
were
less expensive.
on everyone, even your children, if you were to have a principally based marriage and you had a list of those principles that you two held hands every day and you looked at those principles and you made your decisions from those principles that you made together with other people supporting you, and you've made now lifelong friends that are in the same boat that you can hold accountable and vice versa. The reason that we have people in our weddings is to keep us accountable for the moments we think we're going to get divorced. Say, nope, I was
love
there
that
when
you
you
brought
took
that
that
up.
vow.
Yep. I love that you brought that up, because usually it's the opposite. Usually it's the people that we had up that's like, girl, you do not deserve that. You need to leave him. You need to like, or
Yeah.
dude, you could get so much better. Like just leave
Yeah.
or just go cheat. It's not a big deal. Like
Yep.
these are not the people you want standing up with you, friends. These are the people that you want. People you want standing up with you are the people that are like, okay, you don't mean that, and you're kind of being psycho right now too. Go back to your husband, fix this, repair it, do better.
Yeah. Well, what we're shining a light on here is that we're never qualified to be married until we've
Yeah.
done the work that Ted and I are going to teach married couples, and that we teach executives, and that we teach other individuals. You're not qualified to be in a relationship, because in a relationship, it requires leadership.
Yeah.
And it requires both people to lead at some point or the other. So you better both know how to do it.
Yep.
And you better both not be coming from a place of lack when you enter into a union. The same way I would not hire a CEO for my company just because I saw potential in them.
Yeah.
Hell no. I'm going to hire somebody who is proven they are not only trustworthy, but they are efficient, and they are incredible at whatever they are, maybe in strategy or in oversight, all the things. Like, I'm going to make sure that they can run my company better than I could by 1,000. And that's why I want to have them in my company. Same with your partner. If you're marrying somebody because you wanted the proposal or because you wanted the day of the wedding, be real about that.
Yeah.
And if you're already in the marriage, well, there was something about that person that called you in. So I promise you could make that work, and it could be the better of probably most marriages out there. So let's just look at that. So the people that you have in your circle is super important. You want to make sure that you're surrounding yourself with people you want to be like, that you respect, that revere and respect you and your situation. They want to make sure you're making authentic decisions and all of that. But when we get married, usually it's kind of just like, oh, let's go have a party. It's like a glorified date. It's not really a significant event. And I know when I married my husband, it was like, I wrote my vows and I'm like, I mean every single word I'm saying. Like, because I had been married before and I was so young and so stupid that those aren't excuses, but like, I just would have done it so different.
Yeah.
And it's harmful. It's hurtful to a lot of people. But we're so self-centered and selfish that we don't think it. Like, we're young and we're stupid and we just think, oh, I'm going to go do this. Yay. We don't have any reverence for the sacredness that marriage can be. And so I just remember thinking like, wow, I'm really mean these things, that like, no matter what happens, I will stick by you.
Yeah.
That's crazy to say that, because you're saying that you're relying on another person to hold up their end, and you trust they can do it. So make sure that when you are marrying someone, you're not marrying them when you're already at a deficit.
Yeah.
If you're
that's a big
already
deal.
at a deficit, it's a hard hill to climb. So make sure that you are marrying them because you respect them, you revere them. And if you're already married, just know that you can respect and revere them now. There's things that have been happened between you two that are just disgusting. I'm sure that there's moments that you could have recorded that you're like, whoa, like, I can't believe I said that, or I can't believe I'm married to that person. What does that mean about me? Trust me, we're all the same. And you are in this unique position to experience what humility and real redemption looks like. Not just redemption for yourself. Like, I'm going to be different. I'm going to change who I was in this marriage, but I'm also going to give redemption to my partner, because if I deserve it, they deserve it. No matter what they've done. If someone's willing to step up and get over themselves and truly be the individual that changes the marriage, and you both do that, it is like magic happens. Changing something into something else.
We've both seen it hundreds of times, hundreds of thousands of times. Like,
yes,
it's and we're both living proof of that too. You going through, that's how you created emotional sobriety, was actually going through it yourself and then creating a program out of it, which is, I think, for us coaches, that's how most programs are created. For those of us that are good coaches, every program that I have, that's exactly how I've created them, is things that I have done personally. And that's actually also one of the reasons that I respect you and Ted so much, is that you're not someone that's just regurgitating information. You, just like me, we're out here actually living and embodying what we're teaching. And so that's, yeah, it's huge. But I want to go back real quick, because we've talked several times about this already in this podcast, but going back to principles, give some examples of principles that you have with your relationship with Ted, or maybe even like examples of principles that you've seen in other relationships. I don't think, going back to what the story that I was telling in the beginning of the podcast about me and my first husband, us being 21 and 23 and doe-eyed and like, let's just do this. Let's just have a great wedding. And I remember waking up the day after our wedding and thinking, like, just having this pit in my stomach of like, okay, what do I do now? Like, where do we go? What do we do?
Yeah.
And I was so lost. And that's not like principles. I don't think I even knew what that word was, much less
100%.
I don't think I had any that I was truly living into, and if I did, I surely wasn't cognizant of them. So all of that. And then also like that idea of getting married from a place of lack, or a place of, and one thing that keeps popping up for me is, it's a quote that Ted used in the podcast that I interviewed him on. He kept saying, dependent people cannot be dependent on. Well, crap. In both of my marriages, I was completely dependent on my partner. And so when I look at that, and arrogant enough, I'm looking at that being like, well, they depended on me for everything, but I was dependent. So they couldn't have depended on me because I was dependent on them. So it was a codependency relationship.
Yeah, both people are dependent, and people think they're independent, which is really dangerous. And that's where I want to kind of like smack people in the hand with that, because, I thought I was super independent. You're not. If you're fighting with your partner, you are not even close to independent, because that act of fighting is childishness. Because when you're a leader and you're independent, you're not worried about somebody else and their behaviors. You're just the standard. You're the demonstration, and you're the support.
Yeah.
And if it became a place where this person was so dependent on you, and no matter what you did to support them in their growth, they didn't do it, it's just not a match. Because you can't, otherwise that's a host parasite relationship. And it's not healthy.
That's a perfect way to describe that too.
Right. And you'll feel it too. But most marriages, I would say almost all, are actually just codependent, meaning everyone's dependent. And they're pissed at the other person for not taking lead.
Yeah.
Wait, you were supposed to save me.
Yeah.
You were supposed to have all the answers. You were supposed to be the one that had emotional stability. And you didn't even know you were thinking that when you married them. There's this unspoken agreement or unspoken expectation that you even have with yourself around it. Like you said it, you nailed it. You said, I woke up the day after my wedding and I thought, well, what do I do now?
Yeah.
But on your wedding day, you sure knew what you were going to do next. You had the flowers and the band and the pastor or the minister. You had the dress. You had who was doing your hair. You knew.
Yeah.
But when it came to being married, there was no plan.
We plan for the wedding day. We don't plan for the marriage that we are entering into on that wedding day.
And that's why it looks like chaos and despair.
Yep.
If you tried to travel without a plan, you'd have chaos, let alone a marriage. It's a whole lifetime. And so you asked me about examples of principles.
Yeah.
And I think that's important, because so many times we blindly say things like, we just had different values.
Yeah.
Did you? What are your values?
The checkbox of what is it? Irreconcilable differences. That's not even a thing. It's not even a thing. That box irritates the crap out of me.
I love it. You could always tell what someone stands for by seeing what they stand against. Cam does not like
irreconcilable differences.
Doesn't believe in it. Doesn't exist. I love that about you. That's what makes you a great marriage coach, because you're like, nope, shut up. That doesn't make sense. We're moving forward. You guys are staying
This line
together.
needs a whiteout. This line, I would love to take whiteout to that on divorce decrees.
Well, it's, it's true for all the reasons, outside of like real like physical abuse and deep, deep seated emotional abuse. I think everything, I mean, even that is redeemable if that person really does change. But things like affairs, almost everyone has an affair. I know that sounds so sad and jaded in like, kind of like I'm just going over it with like a veil of lace. And I'm not saying it's not a big deal, but I'm saying there's something really wrong if the affair even took place. There's something really wrong if you're fighting every day. There's something really wrong if one of you is sick all the time.
Yeah.
Or really overweight.
Or has anxiety all the time. Or the overweight.
Yeah.
Or and it even goes back to not knowing, like we say these vows, and I love what you were talking about earlier when you were saying, when I wrote my vows, I meant every word. I can't say that I even thought about that the day that I was getting married, like what I was truly saying, and did I mean that? And then, even in a fight, when you are being so childish, we're throwing out words that we don't even mean. Yeah. We're throwing things out that, do you even think about what you said? So,
And can we talk about that? Why are you talking if you don't mean
why
it?
are you talking? Yes. Why are you even talking?
Why are you even talking?
Yeah.
Right.
I
and
look at some of the crap that I said to Mo, and I'm like, I'm an asshole. Like, why would I even say that? Why would I even say that?
Yeah. Well, because
I was mad,
weak and defenseless. And so you became the defense. It's interesting because when you're talking about your principles, like we don't have the same values. And that's why I ask, okay, well, what are the values that they have or that they don't have that you have? And people will inevitably tell me all these things. Well, they're dishonest and they're this and they're that. I'm like, great, show me evidence where you've been those things. Mm-hmm. And they can always find it when they're authentic, when they're real, when they're ready to get over themselves. It's like, okay, where are you? One of my favorite things to say to people that really does wake them up is just tell me where you're full of shit. That's all you got to do. Yeah. Because you're holding this illusion that you're some like incredibly perfect person, and it's just not possible. Yeah, you're funny and you're smart and you're pretty and you're handsome and you're all these great, awesome. You make great money, whatever. Doesn't matter to me. Where are you full of shit? Yeah. When you find that, you open up this totally different dimension of you. Yeah. Because if you're not looking past that, if you can't see where you're full of it, you're never going to grow. Number one, you're never going to have an elevated human experience. Number two, you're going to be trapped in the same chaos, confusion, and dysregulation that you've been in your entire life or adult life that you've brought into this partnership and probably to your children. And guess what? They're going to be the exact same way. And you're going to blame your partner for it. Yep. There's no backbone in that. There's no personal responsibility in that. To me, that's the sexiest thing in the world, is when somebody has personal responsibility, backbone. They're willing to lay down on the sword for their family. Yeah. Yes. Yes. That's it. You'll see.
That truly is the hottest thing ever.
It is. It's the hottest. Yeah. And so let's talk about this. Because I have a list.
Ooh, I love that you have a list.
I have a list. I love lists. I have a list of principles, of examples of principles that you would bring into your marriage. And this is kind of an example of one of the activities you do later on in the marriage retreat, but it's a unified decision of what do we want to be about? Like, where are we full of shit and we don't want to do that anymore? Okay. So if like you're both say you want to grow, but you never actually do. And you could tell because the state of your marriage has not changed at all. And it doesn't need to be night and day, but it needs to be incrementally getting better. Yes. Like we had less time or more time in between fights. Or this fight was much milder.
Yes.
Or, oh my gosh, the other day, my husband came up to me and he told me the truth about something that he normally would have lied about. Those are the things we look for in the infancy of our decision to grow together. So if you both have said we want to grow and nothing's changed, you've not committed to growth, because if one of you did, it would be changing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the first principle that you could put on your list is growth, an actual unified promise to grow individually and collectively. Because why? Why would I say individually? Because it's always
All about the individual.
And it's collectively, not like we're going to grow at the same time or in the same way. We are going to both be obsessed with our personal growth.
Yeah.
And so that attaches to the overall mission of whatever our mission is together. It's a conscious daily commitment. This isn't something that you write down at your 3-day event and you hang on your fridge and you never look at it again. You don't take it seriously. Otherwise, why are you speaking if you don't mean what you're saying?
Yes.
Stop doing it.
Or if your outer layer of your brain, if you're so pissed that the outer layer of your brain is shut down and you don't even know what you're saying. Like, you have to actually know what you're saying and mean it.
Yes. And you would have to have some level of emotional sobriety to do that.
Yeah.
Because like you said, if you're in your emotional brain and you're flooded and drunk with emotion, nothing's going to come out. Trust me. You get drunk with me, you're going to be like, Andrea is insane. She says the weirdest things. I can't believe she said that. Right? Same with emotional. Like, if I'm out of my mind, emotionally speaking, it's the same as if we had just drank 12 glasses of wine together. So just recognize, don't speak if you don't mean what you are going to say. And if you aren't even aware enough yet to be able to catch yourself, check your motive, check for where you're being manipulative or sneaky or self-absorbed or self-obsessed, if you can't do that yet, that's what this retreat is designed to help unlock for you. And trust me, there's nothing hotter. You've heard it now from 2 girls. There's nothing hotter than anyone, a girl or a guy, who decides that they're willing to lay down their armor, so to speak, and say, okay, this is where I'm full of it.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Change completely.
Totally change completely. All right. Second principle. This is one of the principles in my marriage. So I'm being a little open here. Redemption. Redemption is wanting forgiveness for our partner. No matter what they do, it's like we want them to win.
We so want beautiful.
Yeah. Like, oh my God, that happened. Oh my God, you made that mistake. Okay. I want to help you correct that. I want to help you get back on track. I want to help it so that you never have that happen again. Wherever I was an accomplice to that, wherever I helped, drain you or depended on you way too much, so you lost all of your energy or you gave me all your energy.
Yeah.
How can I become more independent so that you don't have to carry me? Right? How can I be a safe place for you to tell the truth so you don't build everything up and then have to go have an affair or have to go drink until you get a DUI? Like, whatever it is, we want redemption for our partner. We want it. We want forgiveness, not just from us, but from the world and from, God and from themselves. Like, we don't want them to carry that shame. If we don't give our people a place to be forgiven, they will always do the same thing. If we don't hold them in a light of the new, they will always be in the old. If we don't give them a new role and commit to that ourselves, they will always be in the old role.
Okay, I want to pause right there, because this is something that I see constantly and I'm guilty of myself too. Okay, what you just said is, if we don't give our people a place to be forgiven, they will always do the same thing. That means that if your partner is trying to do something different, if they're actively changing their behavior, and you are constantly throwing their old behavior in their face, what reason do they have to be different and new?
Exactly. And on the flip side of that, if they're not changing their behavior, don't placate them or make it seem like you don't notice, right? Like, you don't necessarily roll over and say, oh, it's okay, honey, I forgive you. No, we want to forgive them no matter what and not shame them, but let their actions speak for what their intentions really are.
Yeah.
Do not be steamrolled by this illusion that somebody's going to change just because they said they were going to change.
Yes.
I want evidence.
Words and
of that.
actions have to match.
Yep. And you'll see it. It's undeniable. There's been times in my marriage where my husband and I both needed a change. Okay. And both times the other person's like, man, I noticed that you're really different. Like, wow. Like I remember one time he said like, wow, baby, you handled that so much differently than you would have in the past. I'm really proud of you. Instead of, oh my God, like you think you're so good now that, you know what I mean? Like it's just,
Yep.
there's no redemption there. There's no wanting your partner to be better for them.
Yeah.
For them, because it sucks seeing somebody that you love enough to marry struggle with the same addiction or struggle with the same flaw that they don't want anymore, you know? And there's lots of ways to get over it, guys. Just we'll fix it. All right. Third principle would be leadership. Independence, direction, and forward moving. Independence, direction, and forward moving. That's how I would define leadership. I'm an independent person. I have direction and I'm forward moving. And I know how to get other people in line because I'm a safe person and I'm a firm person. That doesn't mean I'm yelling at people. I have a standard.
You are the standard.
Yes.
Yes.
You are and you have it. Yes.
Yes. Love that.
And you just call people up. Like if you're doing a coaching session with people, Cam, I'm sure you have a very similar energy. You have a direction, you're taking them, you're forward moving, and you do not let them get off track.
Yes.
It's like, nope, smack them on the butt, get them right back on the path. And that's what we have to do in leadership of a family, in leadership of our teams, in leadership of ourselves, because at some point you will go off track and you need to smack your little butt back onto the path. Self-leadership is important. I like to say it. Rudolf Steiner is a wonderful, wonderful teacher in the past, says you have to put the bridle in your own mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved that because I'm like, this guy's talking about emotional sobriety.
Yeah.
You know, decades ago. And it's completely true. Put the bridle in your own mouth, because if you can't lead yourself and you have no direction, how are you going to lead a family?
Yeah.
How are they going to look up to you? How are they going to trust you?
Yep.
And this is another point I wanted to make and why principles are so important in our marriages. Because if I don't trust you as your wife and you tell me that I'm defensive, or that you notice I'm struggling with childishness sometimes, or emotional instability, or maybe stories that don't add up. Mm-hmm. If I don't trust you, I'm not going to hear you.
That's true. I'm also not willing to be submissive to you. I'm not willing to, like, it directly impacts my ability to respect you. It affects everything. I have to be able to trust you, and I have to be able to, I have to be able to trust you. I have to be able to trust that your words and your actions are matching, all of it.
Yeah. And that I'm safe.
Is a really big deal. Yeah. The safety and security.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't understand. So I do, I'm working with a friend of mine right now to kind of like reframe or reintegrate psychological safety in like the workplace and in family environments, because I don't really believe in how it's taught right now. I think it has a really strong political slant, and it takes all the responsibility off the individual, which, you know, for me is everything. Integrated human mastery is about the person, not the whole.
Right.
Not about your family. It's about you. How can you be the best version of you? And that ripples out. So let's take like a CEO, for example. If I want to teach emotional safety or psychological safety to that person, what I'm saying is you have to be not only worried about everyone else's emotions. You don't even need to worry about other people's emotions. You have to worry about yours. Mm-hmm. And you need to make sure you do not have them. And I don't mean that in a callous way. I don't mean that in a stoic way. I don't mean that in a shoving it down, pretending you don't have them. I mean, you need to not have them. You need to not have the same pattern of thinking and insecurities and offendability and frustration and belief that you're better than and all those things. that get you fired up, that get you to become a firestorm that becomes an emotionally unsafe place, because it's not about you being safe for someone else's emotions. It's about you not harming somebody else with your outrage and your weakness.
Yeah.
Because we do that when we are coming from a place of high emotional strain, like, let's say, offendability, jealousy, fear, insecurity, you name it, resentment, embarrassment. When we're coming from that place, we are going to be violent, and not necessarily physically. But I'm telling you, when someone's emotionally violent with you, even if they don't say anything, you feel it, right?
Yeah.
To me, that's
an
a physical attack. That's a violent attack. When you can't harness your own maturity and perspective, you're not a leader. I had to learn that the very hard way. Very hard way. And if you can't endure really hard things without hurting everyone around you, you're not a leader, or at least you're not an effective leader. So let's just fix it. Same goes for your family. If you're a mom, if you're hurting your kids just because you're emotional, you're not leading.
Yeah.
So we have to find a way to get people excited about that.
Yeah.
Excited, not shamed, not like, oh God, I'm so scared. That sounds like a lot of work. I'm just not that person. You are that person. You just don't know it. It's the you've never met.
Yeah.
I didn't ever, not only did I think I couldn't do it, I didn't think it was even a possibility or that I needed to.
Yeah.
We're so asleep. And so that's the next one's leadership. And I'll give you two more.
Okay.
Next one I would say is strength. Strength is a very important part of Lifted Academy. It's physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual strength. All four. If we're not integrated on all four domains of the human experience, we cannot have an elevated human experience or be effective in any measure, right? You might be a high level in one of those domains, maybe even two, but to have the full experience is what makes the most effective leaders in family and work, etc. So strength to me is the ability to demonstrate above and beyond, not just like basic, above and beyond the norm. So for example, in the physical, if you're a woman, I want you to be able to bench at least your body weight. I want you to be able to squat double your body weight. I want you to be able to have some kind of a extreme ability in mobility or conditioning. That to me, it's like that girl can hold her own.
Yeah.
She is independent. You might not have like the greatest in fighting skills, but at the very least, you could protect yourself in the basic way. You can help out if something were to happen on your land and something needed to be moved, or your kid needed something picked up off them.
Yeah.
Mentally, same thing. You demonstrate above and beyond in discernment, in clarity, right? And your critical thinking. And emotionally, you demonstrate a high level of maturity and emotional sobriety and stability, that level-headedness, right? I like it when people say like, man, you have such good composure. I want that. I want that composure. That is to demonstrate a high level emotionally and spiritually. You have this relentless faith. Just relentless. Like it removes your fear, your questioning, all things. You're just like, I totally believe that whatever's going to happen in my future, I will be fine.
Yeah.
I will be fine. It's fearless and mutual promotion of courage in all things. That's really what it is. Fearless faith. And when you have that together, if both of you committed to growth, redemption, leadership, strength, how different would your marriage look? If one of you did, if let's say just the husband did, how different would you lead your wife?
I truly believe that especially for the man, if the man adopts these principles and he's the only one that does it, I truly believe that his wife will fall in line. Like that polarity is there then. And it's not an inverted polarity. It is the way that it needs to be, where like, or the way that we look at it from like a biblical standpoint, right? So it is one of those things that I think women want to be led, not in a but we want to look at our husband as that provider, protector, leader. And it's hard
Well, I
not.
definitely think so. I think that, like what you said, fall in line. What that means is they want to follow,
Yeah.
and not in like a negative way, but like,
No,
yes, oh God, thank God there's something now. I'm not the smartest person in the room. Thank God
I
I'm
don't
not the
have to have
most,
all the mental load.
I don't
I
have
think
to
this is a
have all the
problem.
answers.
Yes, I
Yeah.
think this is such a problem in marriages is that women are carrying all of the mental load because men are not truly leading where they need to be leading. And so it like the women are just stepping up and taking that role of like, well, all right, if I guess if he's not going to lead, then I'm going to do it because it's otherwise it's not going to get done. But that mental load is so much. And
Mhm.
so and it's impacting everything. Whereas yeah, like you said, if the man steps up and leads and truly becomes in his healthy masculine, like the
Yes.
woman just doesn't have that mental load anymore.
So my husband does an expedited course called Man School. I don't know if he talked to you about this,
Yes,
but
we talked about it, and
oh,
I hope every man in the world takes it.
it's amazing. These men, like, I mean, women took it too, but the men had such a shift in who they became that even if their wife had no idea what they were doing, their marriage had to change.
Yeah.
It's like we talked about, it's the hottest thing in the world, right? When somebody's growing and they're redeemable and they're leading and they're strong physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, they have that composure and they're able to guide because they're not just all over the place. Women, I think, have the ability to entrain faster than men. I think that's what
Mhm.
you're saying by fall in line. Women have this like
Yeah.
bandwidth that is incredible. I mean, they have
Yes.
to have their eyes on like 1,000 different things at once, and they
Yep.
have this capacity to just instantly entrain to whatever needs to happen. We're in, like, we got this. So if you're chaotic, your wife will be chaotic.
Yes.
Just know that
Totally agreed.
she will
I've
mimic you.
lived that.
Yes. Yes.
I've lived.
If you are full of hate and rage, your wife will be full of hate and rage most of the time because we're so dependent. And we think
Mhm.
if we're not like our partners, they'll leave us.
Yep.
And so independence is, this is who I am. This is who you are. We're both independent. We're both leaders. But most of the time, the man just leads in a different way. They're just more natural,
Yeah.
right? We lead in a different way over here. And I feel like men really do need women to be better leaders. That's the thing about it. It's such a mutual experience,
It
right?
is.
We're not
Yeah.
saying
No, I agree.
follow your husband. We're saying both become leaders and decide in the moment who's leading.
Yeah. Yes.
Who's leading
Yes.
right now.
Agreed.
The last thing, let me try to pick one here. Okay, I would say love-centered.
Oh, I love that.
So love-centered is the ability to elevate above common problems, finances. It's hot outside. Someone's sick. We're stressed about work. Our love center is so strong that we just don't even see that. It's not even an issue. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Right?
We'll figure it out and we'll do it together.
Yeah. And we're doing it together. We're in full union. Yes. That's marriage. Like I said, you guys, you don't have to be legally married. You could be divorced. You could be engaged. Your union, or just dating, your union deserves a purpose.
Mhm.
Just like every human being is born into this world with a purpose. And we do purpose alignment at Lifted Academy for this reason, because without purpose alignment, we're without a North Star. We're aimless. We think we're doing things because we're doing things based on what we're told we're supposed to do. Like, oh, you should probably graduate high school and you should probably go to college and you should probably get a job. And oh, it's kind of cool if you're in tech, or maybe you could be a doctor, or maybe you just want to be a stay-at-home dad. Like whatever it is, you're told that there's these things that you can do with your life. And all those things are fantastic. But if you don't know your unique touch that you give to each of those things, you're going to be unfulfilled.
Yep.
You're going to do things differently than other people and not know why. Your partner is going to do things differently than you, and you're not going to know why. And you're going to be frustrated with each other for not being the same. You're going to be annoyed at other people for not thinking like you, voting like you, praying like you. It's going to be the ultimate state of self-centeredness and self-obsession. But when you know yourself, you can then take that knowledge and know other people have their own version of that. And it's like the permission to be you and the permission to let them be them. Set each other free, people. Like, let each other be
Yes.
themselves. One of my clients the other day, she said, the best advice you ever gave me was set your husband free.
Set your husband free.
Because he used to annoy her. He'd say the wrong thing at the wrong time, or he wouldn't wear the right thing. And I'm like, well, yeah, he's probably out of his mind, worried that you're observing everything he does, And so she's
Monkey
like,
on his back. Yeah. Yeah.
and so just set him free and see what happens. Because most of the people don't understand is that your partner survived before they even met you.
Yeah.
You don't need to control them. In fact, I can guarantee you probably can't. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to this podcast.
True. Very
you wouldn't
true.
be seeking a solution.
Yeah.
So, yeah, setting them free, but having a mission together is incredible. It's an incredible thing. My husband and I always joke around. We say, like, let us save you 30 years.
For the love of God. And probably $200,000.
Exactly.
It's so expensive to get divorced, and it's so expensive. Like, people don't even realize it's expensive for the divorce, for the lawyers, in therapy, for furnishing. People do not realize how much it costs to furnish two different households.
Yep.
It is so expensive. So if you have gotten married, you can always change your marriage. It does not matter what state you're in. You can always change it if you choose to.
Hey, you said something not that long ago. Maybe it was on one of your podcasts or a reel that you did about contempt.
Yep.
And I really agree with you on that. I think that if your partner has contempt for you, it's actually better for you to move forward.
Would
you agree? Yeah.
I would. Absolutely.
Because what they've done is they're demonstrating an unwillingness to grow, redeem, lead, and they're coming from a place of weakness.
Yep.
Right. So
I would
all
say
those 4 principles.
There's a caveat to that. So here's the thing is that if your partner has contempt for you and they're not willing to see it or change it, then yes, 100%, it is better. It's better to move on. Now, if it's pointed out and they see it and they're like, oh, crap. Like,
That's
yeah,
great.
You're right. Then yes, if they have that humility to say, yeah, I see that. And I do need to fix that. But I will say, as someone who has lived in a contemptuous marriage where my husband truly had so much contempt for me, it's so much better to move on, because there's absolutely no way. If they're not willing to see it, they're not willing to change it. And contempt is one of those things that you just can't get past. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how great you are. It doesn't matter if they give you an entire list of things to change and you do it. You're still not going to be good enough for them. And so, and in reality, it's not that you're not good enough for them. It's that they're not good enough for themselves, and they're projecting that onto you.
Yeah. Or you both just started from a dependent place and weren't qualified to be in that relationship and had the unspoken expectations that didn't come true in your fairy tale. And now it's like, I blame you for not making my life look a certain way, not doing things the way that I think they should be done. Cause my mom would have let me.
Yeah.
Or right. That happens a lot for both sides, by the way.
It does.
It does. And I think that we could define contempt pretty accurately by saying unwillingness to love.
Yeah. Unwillingness to love, unwillingness to be love-centered.
Yes, exactly. Because love is honestly, it's always a choice. That's why my husband and I call these conscious daily commitments or conscious daily choices. Every single day you're choosing these principles. And we always tell people in the beginning, pick 3 to 5, because if you have 10 and I have 20, but if you have too many and you can't even do one, you'll be overwhelmed.
It's just overwhelming.
Right?
Yeah.
So we've taken, 30 plus years of education and we've put it together in a really a degree level mastery of the human being in relationships, in the physical body, in the mental and emotional state, in the spiritual, and we've made it as easy as possible and as fast as possible. I think it takes about a year to have a total radical transformation, but I do believe that people can have huge transformation in as little as 8 weeks.
Yeah.
You know,
but then that goes back to that first principle of progress, not perfection, like where you're showing growth. As long as, I mean, if you're showing any kind of growth in your relationship, it's redeemable. So just keep focusing on the growth. And additionally, if you're so laser focused on you as an individual, on your growth and on these principles, let's be honest, couple that with being hydrated enough, getting the right nutrition, working out, and your job. If you're truly focused on that, you don't have time to focus on your partner and what they are or are not doing and what they, how they made you mad or how they left their socks on the floor. Like, you don't have time. It's just.
Yeah. I love what you said just now, the word partner. Let's touch on that for a second. If you have a marriage or you're in a partnership, ask yourself, how do I demonstrate partnership? Just that. How do I demonstrate partnership? If somebody were to interview my husband or my wife, and they were to ask, how does your spouse demonstrate partnership for you or with you? What would those answers be? If it's hard for you to figure it out, you got work to do.
Yep.
That means you're waiting for them to be a partner. You're looking at where they're not being a partner instead of where they are being a partner.
Yep.
Or you're not putting your best foot forward in that partnership. And if you were in partnership in a business, you would have been fired.
Facts.
No partnership exists if both people aren't effective and engaged. It's not a partnership. So don't call it that. Call it what it is. We're roommates who don't get along. Right? Who feel like we have to, have sex because we're married. So we have to do that, or they'll leave us. Or like there's all these qualifiers, but none of them make sense when you really think about it. What is partnership?
Yeah.
If you wouldn't hire the person you're married to, you've got work to do. If you wouldn't hire yourself, you've got work to do.
But you have to be really honest with yourself about that, because we want to believe that we're doing better than what we really are.
Exactly. And here's a very important caveat too, is I might think I'm an incredible partner for my husband. Okay. Let's get in a time machine together and let's go back a decade. Okay. I think I'm a great partner. If you were to interview my husband, he'd be like, oh my God, no, it's awful, because I'm meeting needs that I think he needs me to meet. Meaning I'm so self-centered that I can't actually listen to what he's saying he needs and just doing those things.
Yes. Yes.
If your boss came and put a stack of papers on your desk that I need you to do these things, and you're like, oh, okay, so I think what he really needs is for me to clean out his closet. No, not what he asked. Okay. I'm making this really simple so you guys understand me. Open your damn ears and listen to your partner. It's one of the best things I can say to people. I do Voxer support for my clients, and they'll call me complaining about, okay, listen to that message. Listen to the message your partner sent you, or your boss sent you, or your mom sent you, and listen to them. Just listen. And if you hear it, you might be able to affect change there, whether it be in you or the understanding of where they're coming from. Because even if they're totally from outer space, at least you've listened, and you can then take your next effective strategy leap forward, as opposed to just instantly defensive. Nope, I'm not the problem. But didn't I ask you to do those papers? If you don't know how to do the papers on the desk, by the way, stop the boss right there, and you say, wow, I don't know how to do any of this. Is there something else I could do and still have the job? Yeah. Just say you don't know how, or ask for help, invest in something to teach you how. Because if your partner's saying you never listen to me and you blow that off or you get upset about that, you're literally proving that.
Yeah.
Before.
So I think, and this is a lot of times what I'm experiencing with couples is when we're dating, we're always putting our best foot forward. And so we're having these open-ended conversations, we're doing shared activities together. We have that connection. So we think that our partner is loving us the way that we need them to, but we don't ever define it. We don't define what respect and love and fidelity and honor and all of these things mean. Even principles, like we don't define the principles that we want to live by. So what happens is that then over time we get out of that honeymoon stage and like life kicks us in the face with a golf shoe. We start being more, and this is one of the things that Ted and I talked about too, was we start being more complacent. And so then we start loving more the way that we would want to be loved. We have those unspoken expectations that you talked about. And so we start expecting them. Well, I actually just talked to a client this morning about this. She said, well, I would do it this way, and I would want him to do it the same way I am doing it. And I'm like, but he's not you. He's not going to do it the same way. And so that's the thing, is that it's not so much about, and I used to 7 years ago when I first started coaching, I used to speak on love languages so much. And it's not about love languages anymore. Like that's a preschool term. Like if you truly want an elevated marriage, you got to get out of that and you have to do it a little bit differently. But then that listening thing is a hard thing for people.
That's true. And also, I just want to make sure people understand this, that listening doesn't mean agreement.
Yes. Huge.
Okay. A lot of times when someone is in an argument and they're cycling through their arguments, both of them will feel they're not being heard because the other one's not saying, oh, you're right. Actually, it's usually not that ache to be heard is really an ache to be agreed with. So if you could come up with that understanding in your marriage, that just because I'm not agreeing with you doesn't mean I don't understand or that I'm not listening or that I don't respect your opinion. It just means, or respect that you have an opinion. You don't even have to respect the opinion. But I'm not going to agree with you because I have a totally different set of beliefs.
Yeah.
And maybe that'll change one day. But right now, that's just what we're dealing with. And fighting about it, there's literally nothing else that you could say that's going to convince me otherwise. So let's just give it some time. It's like just recognizing the majority of the things you fight about aren't even the topics you're fighting about. It's just ego of wanting to be the right one, wanting to be the one in power, wanting to be the more attractive one, wanting to be the more valuable one, because you think that if you're not, the other person's going to vanish and then you'll have nobody. I think a lot of people really struggle with that very basic human animal instincts that are just not attractive, and they don't have any place in a high level partnership. So if you want a high level partnership, you have to be high level. Yeah. You can't wait for your other person to do it.
Along those lines, we've talked a lot about authenticity, and studies have shown that a lot of people think that love is the highest frequency that you can omit, but it's not. It's authenticity. So I want you to dig into, and then I want to wrap up, and I want you to talk about your books and the retreat itself. But I want you to dig into authenticity and how we know if we're truly being authentic, even if we think we're being authentic, but we're really not.
Check your motive. Sneakiest, fastest way to sober up. What am I hoping to accomplish by saying this? And what am I hoping to accomplish by saying it this way? And what am I hoping to accomplish by saying it in this order? And what am I hoping to accomplish by saying it now versus later or 5 weeks ago? Authentic is authentic. It's real or it's not.
Yep.
Yeah. So get real. You can't be authentic without self-investigation. You can't. Otherwise, you're speaking and nothing is coming up. You're just talking, right? We talked about this earlier. Stop talking. Stop talking. If you don't know what you're saying, trust me, I've been one of them too. where I'm talking. And I think that I'm just like listening to the sound of my own voice and it all makes total sense. And it doesn't make sense. And it's a waste of time. It's a waste of time and resources.
Okay, real quick, talk about your books that are coming out and how can people sign up for the retreat that's coming up in October?
Awesome. Okay, so let's talk about the retreat first. So Mission-Based Marriage is going to be October 11th, 12th, and 13th. It's in California. If you can't join us in person, we will be streaming it. So you can do it virtually. And we're probably going to have a special guest speaker. It is a 3-day event. We're going to be talking about purpose alignment. So you understand your unique archetype in the world. And it's not a personality test. It's very different. It's going to be very eye-opening and help you understand your partner in a completely different dimension and really turn a lot of your frustrations into fascinations and appreciation. So, for example, you might find out that you're exact opposites in what you're here to do in the world. That doesn't mean that you're not good for each other. It means that you just haven't been capitalizing on each other's strengths. Okay. Yes. So that right there, it's going to give you a boost of self-esteem individually, and it's going to make you really like each other more automatically and close some doors of curiosity or mystery or frustration from the past. Oh, that's why he did that. Or that's why she says things like that, or is always doing those things. And it creates a lot of healing in that in of itself. So we're going to do that. You're going to have some facilitation around that. We're going to do some communication training around that. And really this retreat is designed in 3 days to teach you 3 unique languages that are not taught anywhere else in the world, in purpose, in body, and in emotion. And we make everything very objective. It is not like talk therapy. It is not, you don't have to share a bunch of personal stories or fighting. It's just all about personal responsibility. It's literally like Navy SEAL training for your emotional state in your marriage. It's to get you to a place where you come out with composure, with maturity, with more, and trust me, everyone has untapped maturity, and everybody has to understand that. Our friend, who's a great psychotherapist, he talks about maturity being defined as using effective strategies. Love that. If you're using ineffective strategies, you are by definition without experience or maturity. And so we leave this retreat feeling this renewed sense of leadership and confidence and independence. And you feel like you've gone through something. You feel like you've really applied yourself. Yeah, you feel like you've really applied yourself, accomplished something that's a really, really big deal in a very short window of time. Because at Lifted Academy, we really believe in compressing time. We really believe that if we can get radical tools to create radical transformation, we take something that would normally take 1 to 2 years and we can condense it down into 3 days. Love okay. That. Just to get that type of a breakthrough and this realization that you too can make it, and you can make it well. And all you need to do is start implementing the things that we teach. And they're not like tricky little tools, by the way. They're very straightforward, totally different states of being and lifestyle. So that if you implement them, you literally can't keep change off of you. And you bring this back and you integrate it into your family systems, like your children start to learn. They get to be guided. They get to see you as an example, and they change faster than you will. Your kids, when you start to demonstrate leadership, all of a sudden they're so mature. They have a total leadership over their body. They understand communication in a completely different way. And your whole vibe will change, and they're going to be so grateful. And that our goal is like by Christmas-ish, that time, the holiday season, families are completely rejuvenated.
That's amazing. Yes. How can people sign up?
I usually just have people either come find me on LinkedIn, Dr. Andrea Vitz on LinkedIn, or they can get me on Facebook or email me, Andrea@liftedacademy.com, and just say, I want in. Andrea@liftedacademy.com. And then I'll just jump on a call with you. We'll see if it's a fit. We'll do some little application process, because we want to make sure that you're really ready, willing, and able to do it. And you're like all in, because we want people that are like-minded, that are like obsessed with this. Like my partner and I, we want this. Like, this is the thing we've been waiting for. It's not taught anywhere else. We can't find it. It's the thing that I would have wanted. Do you know what I mean? It's like, can we just do this fast? Can we just be better already? So those kinds of things. And so I think that, and as far as the books go, I have 2 books coming out. I think the first book coming out is the most important one to talk about. It's called, actually, I can't announce the name yet.
Okay.
It's a really good one.
When does it release?
I think it's going to come out around Christmas time, maybe before. I'm going to do a big book launch for it. So I hope everybody listening is on there. Follow me on Facebook and actually, I'm not on Instagram that much, but follow me on Facebook and you'll get up to dates on that like every day.
Love that. Love that. All of your links will be in the show notes for how to follow you on social media, the Level Headed Talk podcast every single day that comes out, all of that. That will all be on in the show notes. So thank you so much for joining us. It's always fun for you and Ted to be on the show. It's always 90 minutes. I plan for an hour, but it's always 90 minutes at least because it's just so much good information. So thank you so much for your time. And of course, we will see you next time.
Thank you for having me. You're doing great work.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Married and Connected podcast. I appreciate you so much. And if you have not left a review, I would absolutely adore you if you would go leave a review. It's how my podcast grows and gets in front of other people. I want to take a moment to share an important disclaimer, not for you, but for my legal team. This podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Now, while I am a certified marriage coach, I am not a licensed therapist, counselor, or medical professional. The information, opinions, and advice shared here are based on my experience, research, and expertise, but they are not a substitute for professional mental health, legal, or medical advice. Every relationship is unique, and what works for one couple may not work for another. If you're facing serious relationship struggles, mental health concerns, or other challenges, I encourage you to seek the guidance of a qualified professional. And by listening to this podcast, you agree that I, Kameran Alaricki, the Recognizing Potential Coaching brand, or the Married and Connected podcast are not responsible for any decisions that you make based on the content shared here. Your relationship, your choices, and your outcomes are ultimately in your hands.